If you're a real estate agent who is struggling to get deals closed or even generate qualified leads, this video is for you. Today, I'm bringing on one agent who has been crushing it in her video marketing efforts and, in fact, closed a $1.8 million deal thanks to video.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Hi, Ed.
Go ahead and introduce yourself for those who are not familiar,
Sure.
and then we'll dive more into your story and how video has been changing the game for you as an agent.
So I am Morgan DeVincenzi. I'm one of the co-owners of Sullivan Group Real Estate. We are a small residential real estate team here in Sonoma County, California. And I have been in real estate, 7 to 8 years, started as an assistant, actually came on to kind of feel it out, and then ended up getting my license and have been loving it since. And so that's kind of who I am. We run a little small team. I actually work alongside my mom. She's the other co-owner. She got into real estate about 5 or 6 years before I joined. And so it's been kind of cool. She had, enough time to get her feet wet to kind of give me an idea if it was going to be a fit for me. And then we've been growing together since.
As you've gone through the different stages, what challenges have you faced? Like, especially when it comes to marketing, because that's always the biggest thing these days.
Knowing when the pivot point is with different marketing tactics. I would say we call it the chopping block. And every year, it's usually an annual thing. About the end of the year, we kind of do our business review essentially. And everything and anyone goes on the chopping block and can potentially get chopped out of our business. Is it bringing us business? Is it building our ROI? Is it bringing new opportunities to us? Is it representing our business the way we want to represent our business? Is it a vendor that did well for us and our clients? All those kinds of things. So we look at all of that. So we realized in the more recent, actually the last year or two, that this chopping block system, as great as it is, it should actually be done more than once a year. Evaluating and reevaluating what these marketing efforts are. As you can tell, we do the chopping block with all different capacities of our business, like where we're spending money, where we're saving money, who we're working with, how we're handling processes. I mean, it's all covered. But specifically with the marketing tactics, now we're looking at our marketing on minimally a quarterly basis to say, in the last few months, what is working for us, what isn't working for us, what were we expecting more return on and didn't see that, or what did we get more return on that we weren't expecting, and how can we dive into that a little bit further?
Oh, so you just opened up a whole can of worms. I hope you're ready for that.
Yeah, please.
I love this chopping block piece of it, and I love that you're starting to look at your marketing a lot more frequently, your marketing efforts a lot more frequently. When you are looking at the marketing piece and what's working, what's not, how do you determine what's working and what's not? What are maybe some qualifiers for that? And maybe that's jumping ahead too far. Maybe we have to back up to say, what are you doing in your marketing that you see is working and not?
Absolutely. Well, and that's a perfect way to kind of word it. It is jumping ahead a little bit, but it's a fairly straightforward question to answer. Is you should generally know what the rate of return is on your different marketing efforts. If you send out a mailer, for example, like a physical postcard mailer or something, we generally know what the percentage of response rate we're going to get per how much we send out. And so we know that. So if we aren't seeing those numbers, then we look at and say, does it make sense to keep mailing here?
Yeah.
Same thing with all the other marketing capacities. And if you don't know what that general or typical rate of return is, you should probably know that, so you have at least a threshold to say we should minimally be hitting this to make sure it's worth our time and our money and our energy and our branding. So something as simple as sending out marketing mailers. Same thing with social media, video. All the marketing capacities, you have to kind of put a minimum threshold. Like I said, you have to know, okay, if I'm going to invest this much time, energy, money, whatever, and put my name and my brand on this, what am I going to expect back? And of course, there's the follow-up. You can get responses if you don't follow up with them. Of course, you aren't going to, convert those to closings. But that's what we look at. So we take, each of our marketing buckets
Mm.
and say, okay, what are we expecting out of this? And we look at past years and say, where did our business come from in the last few years, to say, does this bucket, maybe it gives us 2 sales in a year, but if we're doing 40, 50, 60 plus sales in a year, does it really make sense to invest in that, or should we invest in the buckets that are giving us a higher rate of return?
Yeah, that's so true. And speaking of different marketing pieces there, it sounds like you have the combination of some online with social media and then still physical mailers. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So we send, oh gosh, where to even start? We'll start with the old school, old fashioned
Yeah,
way of like mailing paper.
love it.
So when we have a closing, most neighborhoods will do like a just closed mailer to those surrounding neighbors. On the backside, there's always a call to action. Of course, you have to give them a reason to respond, reach out, lead capture, all of that kind of stuff. So there's always on the back, on the front side is like, we just sold this house for X price. Maybe it was over the listing price, or maybe it was in a really short amount of days because it was cash. You always kind of highlight like what the sizzle was on that sale. And then on the back side, it always has a QR code that they can scan, and it goes directly for their property and gives them like a kind of high level property analysis for like evaluation. And then we get pinged saying the owner at this address, inquired about there. And so we can follow up from there, of course. So we do that. We do a quarterly newsletter. So we do those, but we don't try to mail or spend too much money in a spray and pray kind of capacity, if you know what that means.
Yep.
So we really focus more so on our sphere. And so we send out like little fun mailers every so often to our sphere. And we do a quarterly newsletter to our sphere. The quarterly newsletter typically has like a brief market update, kind of what's going on with our specific clients in our area, to kind of give them like, what are we doing in the market? And then we usually list out, because we are event goers here in Sonoma County. So we list out like the next, because we do this quarterly, like the next season's top events. And then hopefully that's something that they hold on to it for. And then there's always like we love the QR codes. I'm so glad QR codes came back.
Yes, and they're popular.
And so, yeah, I mean, they went away for a little while before COVID. People weren't using QR codes anymore.
Yeah.
And then COVID actually brought that back, and it's a beautiful tool. I mean, it really is. And so on the back, or on the newsletter, there's the QR code that then links them to like our website, our social pages, search homes, whatever. Like it's all in that one QR code if they want to, connect further.
I love that. So that's a lot of the old school way, which still works for anybody listening.
Absolutely. And more importantly, so like the spray and pray is, of course you got to keep filling that funnel.
Yeah.
Filling the pipeline with, new people. And so the spray and pray, we already just closed business. We usually send those out to neighborhoods that we continually close business in those neighborhoods every year. So they see us multiple times a year kind of thing, and layer on top.
Yeah.
But most of it is towards our sphere. We really keep, top of mind with our sphere. And actually in the last like week, and this is not every week, I wish it was, but we'll get there. In the last like week, we've had, I think, like 3 or 4 different past clients reach out, buyers that, had to go on pause maybe last year or so, and now are coming back to say, okay, I'm ready. Like my life got organized again. I'm ready to go. And then a couple that are, move up or move down buyers that we helped buy a home previously, and now they want to sell and buy something bigger or smaller. And a lot of that is just because we are I literally say forwardly to my clients, like, I know where you live, you're going to hear from me, and we're going to be friends by the end of this. And they laugh and they're like, okay. And I probably scare them a little bit, but it's okay.
Exactly. No, it's so true. And that's the beauty of it. You're making sure that you're tapping into different marketing avenues, different channels that allow you to stay top of mind and enter people's lives in different areas too.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
People receive communication differently. Like some people love the phone calls. Some people are like, please do not ever call me, like text me only. I also have people that are like, I prefer email. Some
Yes.
people, I have this one sweet lady and she'll sell her house eventually. But we've been connected for the last few years and she's on like our mailing list. She's hasn't bought or sold with us yet, but she's like very forward. Like, I cannot wait to work with you when the time comes. I'm like, cute. And she tells me, she goes, Morgan, I save every single one of your newsletters because there's always something so valuable in them. She goes, I literally have a file with all of them.
Oh, I love it.
Stop. I'm going to cry.
Yes. And that's the case, right? Is like there's so many people that are there paying attention to you, that are constantly keeping track of who you are, what you're doing, and know that they're going to reach out to you when they're ready,
When they're ready.
when you're ready to sell their place.
And it was this one woman that I'm talking about. It was really eye-opening, that conversation. It was just a couple months ago. I just called her to like for a check-in phone call, which I can say with how busy the market was, I was not doing my check-in phone calls as often as I should have with like, you know, existing clients and Sphere and whatnot. And so actually on that phone call with her, when she shared that and was like, I just love all your mailers. I always look forward to when I see something's from you. I always know it's going to be good. And like, I just appreciate that you still send me everything and I save it all. And I was just like, it's so interesting because if it wasn't for that phone call, I may be sitting back here saying, is this even worthwhile?
Yes.
Does this make sense to send it? But having that communication, she very forwardly obviously said, yes, keep sending it to me. I enjoy this.
Oh yeah.
And I would hope that she's not the only one, which is, kind of then just layers on top of that. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to keep working on this, quarterly newsletter and our other little fun mailers and things like that.
Yes. And I think we all have that story, and it's there. Sometimes it's not as clear, right? We don't get that clear message, which is why I'm glad you shared that, because that's the message that a lot of people need to hear more often, is that they are getting their messages out there. They are being received. And again, we have to remember that it's on the other person's time and when they're ready. We can only do so much to provide, the resources and get them close to that finish line. But we have to be the one to want to cross it.
Exactly. So yeah, that's kind of our old school method of marketing, and then shifting over to the more fun. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say more fun stuff. For me, more fun stuff.
Yeah.
We have always been tapping into social media. Social media was a major lead generation pillar for us. Most of our clients are friends with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. We have no problem. Like, we tell them very forwardly, like, follow us on social. We're very active on there. You can kind of keep up with like what we're doing. And like, if you know anybody looking, you can share our pages with them too. I look at like our Instagram page is just as valuable for communication sources as my phone number is.
Ooh.
Perhaps more valuable, because I can give my phone number or my business card to somebody, but they're only going to have the information that's on the business card. But social is like a living, breathing business card that keeps updating on a regular basis. And so they can keep seeing like, oh, dang, you're still doing this. Wow, you're really active in the real estate world. Oh, wow, this is really valuable. Yeah. So I almost find it more a higher level piece of, information or contact information compared to just the old school paper.
No, I love that. And so with social media, because obviously these days it's a must, it's not no longer optional, it's a must. And, a lot of agents and others who are running their own business, not everyone's into social media, let alone video, which we'll talk about here in a second. But it's a hard hurdle to get over for people, especially because they're so busy. Yeah. And so how do you fit that in, and any tips around making it more enjoyable for you, the creator and the producer?
Yeah. So I handle our business page, social media fully. It's one of those things that I think we kind of dance to the beat of our own drum a little bit, that if I outsourced it, and we've contemplated it for like half a second before, that if we outsource some of our social media, it would be less on my plate, but it would be less genuine. So I still, handle the social media on our page fully. And it's just one of those things that, like, we know how many closings we want in a year. We know how many people we need to sit down with an appointment to make sure we have that many closings. We know all of these numbers in our business. Well, social media is no different. I know all the numbers that I need. I know how many posts I need. I know how many people I need to engage with on social media back and forth to make sure that we're building those relationships, because it's really interesting. And then I know how many from past years, I know how many closings are directly sourced from social media. If I can quantify my time on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis to, well, we had like 7, I think last year was 6 or 7 was last year, closings directly sourced from different social media capacities. And okay, if we're looking at, I mean, this is kind of a low estimation, but a $10,000 commission per transaction, that's potentially $70,000 for doing social media. Well, that's like an annual income for some people. Yes, I will post on social media for $70,000.
Yes.
Absolutely. What do you want me to post? What camera am I looking at? Like, yes, I will do that. So from there, being able to, I've always enjoyed the social media stuff. I went to school for business management with a minor in marketing, and loved all of that. Went into banking before, and then ended up in real estate, which I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I get to use like my business mindset and my marketing creativity. And social media is exactly that for business as well. It's all just knowing who your target audience is. What is the message you're trying to convey, and then continually conveying that message. Our message is, we are a residential real estate group here in Sonoma County, selling the Sonoma County dream to first-time home buyers and people looking to put down roots here in Sonoma County. That's kind of the message I want to keep flowing. So whether you already own a home here in Sonoma County, or you're looking to get into home ownership in Sonoma County, if you're looking to put down roots and you're looking for the Sonoma County dream, we're your team.
Cannot deny that message. And that's the beauty of it, is that you have the message, you have that target market, you also have those goals that you set out. So it's not just we have to be on social media, it's we're going to be on social media, we get to be on social media, and we're going to have these outcomes. Like, this is what we want, And now shifting into the video piece, because this is obviously a big question for everyone. And it's something that you've been implementing more and more over the last 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is.
Yeah, we're coming up on 12 months of consistent video. Like, prior to that, we were doing like fun reels, and we did some like property videos, but it wasn't a consistent, like, we didn't have a video business plan, essentially. We didn't have that. It was just kind of a social media plan with a little bit of video sprinkled in.
Yeah. And so how has that changed things for the business, and really what motivated you to get in that consistency? Because a lot of agents are going to be in that same boat where they're either not recording videos at all yet. Hopefully you will be after this episode, but but if they have been recording videos, they're probably in that other bucket where they're not consistent with those videos.
So there's a couple different capacities of videos that we share. So we have like the Facebook, Instagram, more real type videos. And so I have a minimum quota of 2 per week, alongside my other, static social posts, which I don't really have a quota on that. I have 4 total posts I want to do in the week, and 2 of them have to be video, because video usually trends and has a longer shelf life. So if I'm going to put in the time to put together a piece of content, I want it to have the longest shelf life and get in front of the most eyeballs as possible, of course. Time is money, and exposure quantifies your time, essentially. And so we have that piece of it, and those are kind of a wide array. Sometimes it's me talking to the camera, sharing an experience or sharing a new program. Sometimes it's a video walkthrough with like an explanation written on it. For people to see. Sometimes it's, something kind of trendy, easy. And then it has, like the home buying steps on it. So we kind of take a couple different approaches to that. And it's really interesting how much people actually really love the educational pieces in video form. We've actually really found that, whether my face is in it or whether it's, a video to like a walkthrough of like a nice looking house, but then the written content on it is, something about down payment programs or whatever it is. People seem to really love those. So then on the flip side of that, we also have a long form YouTube channel. And so our YouTube channel, we started in, I believe it was technically the beginning of October last year. We set this, we kind of laugh at ourselves a little bit now. And I'm like, man, I love the fact that like I'm a do it or don't do it at all kind of person.
Wow.
And so we set the goal of 2 videos per week. Long form videos about Sonoma County real estate and all things Sonoma County. This was basically giving us a platform to create videos and content around Sonoma County real estate, what's going on in Sonoma County real estate, what is the market doing, what is it like to buy a house here, what is it like to sell a house here, how do we help you do those things, what should you expect at the different price points, people getting into the market. I'm not a mortgage lender, so as far as payments go, we can connect you to the right people, but people, it's their first time buying a home. They don't know what to expect at these different price points. We all live on Zillow, we all live on, realtor.com. And hey, you know what? I cannot bash those. I think they're wonderful tools to be able to get the, inventory out in front of the public. But actually gauging what's going on in our market and understanding it in a more in-depth way, that's what we really focused on our YouTube channel.
And I can see why that has worked out so well, because you got super hyper focused on local and really being able to provide that information for your local market and for those wanting to come to the local market here.
Yeah. Or people that are already in the local market and they see like, wow, you use this video content to promote our listing. I mean, I have a listing closing today in Sebastopol, and we created a YouTube video about it. We did like the, professional aerial type short video that was like a minute. That was one piece of content. And then we kind of embed that as well into the long form video where we talked about the property is technically in Sebastopol, but it's in walking distance to downtown Grayton. So we talked about like the value of being in walking distance to downtown Grayton, how wonderful the Underwood Bistro restaurant is, that you got a little, oh gosh, I literally just blanked on the wine room, sorry. There's like an amazing wine room right there that you can go taste at, and the Russian River's 15 minutes away, and the airport, and all these different things. You can walk to Oak Grove Elementary School right at the end of your road. These things that are not apparent in a listing, bringing the listing to life in a community aspect. And then we go and tour the actual listing, of course. But we had like, I don't know, at least 1,700 views on that video, something along those lines. And, I'm not going to say that's where the buyer came from, but I mean, added exposure for us as a business, that's an obvious yes every time. And added exposure for our client as the seller is an obvious yes every time. And so we got to hit, it was kind of a 2-bird stone.
Well, and what's nice too is that added exposure was at the cost of time versus money, right? So that was also the nice thing, is that it's an extra step that you can have without breaking the bank.
Right.
You're going for that piece of it. And so tell us a little bit more about this big deal that you had, because it was a big deal. And I think that a lot of people, I'll set the preface that, as we know with any of our marketing efforts, but especially when it comes to social media and video, you're not always going to get an instant return on that investment. But you could, and it has happened. And but we want to set the standard that it normally takes time. Typically we're always looking at 30, 60, 90, even 180 days out before we start to really see that momentum. If, like you said, we're consistent.
Yeah. And then you answer your phone after the video goes live, and you follow up with said contact after you answer the phone the first time. I mean, it's all a process. Like, business doesn't close. I mean, if answering my phone meant close business, I would be a lot richer.
Yes.
So with this transaction, I think your point that yes, everything does take time. So like I said, we started our video journey in the beginning of October, and not that I'm going to go delete those early videos.
No, don't delete them.
No, we are not going to delete them,
Good.
but I may re-record similar content with
Yes.
a new year update kind of thing. Now that I'm more comfortable in front of the camera, because just the almost 12-month you know journey with this experience, I hop in front of the camera and it's like I'm talking to a friend. Like it's like I'm talking to my people. I'm talking to my real estate people, my Sonoma County wannabes that I'm like, let me make Sonoma County a reality for you. Like it's cool. And so you know, it was February. Yeah, it was February when this contact reached out. We had created a video around a listing that was not ours. We did get permission from the agent. And so we went in, we were just at that point, we did our listings, but we don't have enough listings to do 8 videos a month. So we kind of had to like figure out how to, get enough content out there and somewhat quickly. We wanted to be able to show off the different types of properties at different price points throughout Sonoma County. So this is a cool property. It was a very modern, updated, large farmhouse on acreage with a big shop and an ADU and beautiful grounds, and right at that 1.8 price point. And we were like, this is a great example of like having the rural life, but you're like 5 minutes to Rayleigh's. You're 15 minutes to downtown Santa Rosa. Like that is part of the beauty of Sonoma County. And I was like, this property is perfect. So we went and made a video about it and just kind of talked about the property again, talked about the location, all those different factors, launched it on YouTube. And within, I want to say it was like a week or two later of the video being up, the house is on the market for a minute with all of this, to be able to shoot the video and get it up. And then a few weeks later, have someone reach out. And they reached out saying that they saw the listing online and didn't immediately love it. It was hard to gauge from the listing photos and such, but the video really gave it that much better of a perspective and made them understand. They were familiar enough with Santa Rosa because like 30 years before they worked here for a year or so, but that's a long time. I mean, 30 years, a long time ago, and places changed. They were like, it was hard to tell, like, was it really a good area? And they were like, the way you described everything in the video. They actually sent a message immediately just saying, like, we loved your video. We loved all the information. This is exactly what we're looking for. We didn't realize this house was as perfect as it was. We're actually free this afternoon if you're available to show it to us. And so when that message came in, I kind of was like, this is a prank. Yeah, right. Sure enough, about 2 hours later, they like immediately hopped in their car. They're from the East Bay. They hopped in their car. I met them at the property. They loved it. Of course, it was not an immediate like, okay, so should we sit down right here and write the offer? They had a house they needed to sell. They were going to 1031 exchange it. They needed a bridge loan to make sure that we, got the puzzle pieces together. So it took another week or two to really get into contract and make sure that it was going to be the right fit for them. But we got into contract, a week or two later. And then actually we closed on my birthday, which was like, just even like, could I ask for much more? So we closed on April 3rd, which is my birthday. So,
which is amazing. And that was within, I think, the first 5 to 6 months, of consistency.
Yeah, it was about 5 months in when that one came in. And we've had other people, of course, reach out. We're in communications with them, house hunting. We have a lot of people queued up for 2024. So I think this is a really good kind of key takeaway is we need business this year. We need business next year. In fact, we need business the year after that, and so on and so forth. So as much as we were excited to get into the video capacity for the business it could bring this year, the reality was it was going to take 3, 6, probably maybe even 12 months to get the pipeline filled enough to make that drastic of an impact immediately.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that by the 18-month mark, You know, I don't like to count my eggs before they hatch kind of thing. But we'll probably have, you know, a dozen closings, I would say, from all of this video stuff with who we have kind of coming into. You know, some people reach out and they're like, hey, I have a job transfer in spring of 2024. This is great information. You know, I've had like thorough conversations with them. Now I have them like in queue. They just can't move until they can move, you know.
Right.
So that's a really cool thing.
I love that you brought that up, because everyone listening to this right now, that's a key part right there, is understanding that, again, yes, an instant return can happen, and it does happen, but you're going for the long haul. Just like in real estate, you're going for the long-term commitment here. And that's the beauty of video, is that it continuously works for you. And if you're consistent with it, you do see those payoffs both this year and, like you said, lined up already for next year, which is huge, because that is what every agent needs right now. I know we need business today or yesterday, but we also have to stay focused on what can we do that's consistent over time, that's going to continue to bring in business moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so we knew it wasn't going to be like life-changing overnight, but we've had a blast. And I will be very honest, one of the funny things that I wasn't really expecting out of all this video stuff, how much I've learned about our area. Having to dig in on a deeper level to these different, you know, corners of our county to share that on our channel. I've learned more. I'm better for it. I can better guide my clients. I can better direct them. And then it comes across on the videos more when we get like comments and feedback from people saying like, wow, I had no idea about this. This is so cool. I can't wait to check that out next time I visit. You know, hoping when I retire, I can end up moving to Sonoma County. And I'm like, heck yeah, call me.
Yes. Yes, exactly. No, that's awesome. And so we've talked about the marketing piece. We've talked about the old school with the new school, and that consistency part. And for you, it's two videos a week. Anybody listening, that doesn't have to be your goal. You can start with just once a week, right? Like whatever works for you and the situation and the season that you're in. You want to make sure that you apply that. And I love that you talked about the chopping block at the beginning, because that can be used throughout the year for everything in the business. And before we wrap up at least our live episode here, we'll continue talking, but before we wrap up here, what do you really want, one, people who might be your potential clients to know, if we haven't covered it already, but two, also for other agents who are still on the fence about video marketing and really being consistent?
Yeah. I would say too, let's go on the, you know, first piece on the potential client aspect is real estate, Sonoma County, and the home buying or selling process is not a one size fits all. You know, a lot of times you can look it up online and say like, these are the 8 things that you need to know when you're buying a house, and these are the 12 things you need to know when you're selling a house. And I'm like, that's great. But knowing somebody and having, you know, the right representation of somebody that is here, boots on the ground, hyper local, is going to be one of your best assets. And then somebody that's a modern marketing agent is going to be your second best asset. I actually have through social, you know, we connect with clients all the time and new potential people that want to work with us because they, you know, find our content helpful on social. But I also connect with a lot of other agents. The referral opportunities that we get. I actually went on a listing appointment last week from an agent that I met maybe a year to 2 years ago once. If you're watching this, Helen, I'm really sorry. I didn't totally remember you until I went to your social page. I didn't follow her, but she followed me.
See.
And so when she had something come up for a potential listing in our area, but she's like in the Bay Area, but this seller wanted someone who was actually local, we were the first person that she thought of because we stay in front of her on a social capacity. She sees us on video. She sees our marketing, you know, production. She sees all that kind of stuff. And she was like, this is totally up your alley. So it's not just the agent side that we connect with. It's also the client side, which is cool.
And I have to say too, also on the agent side of things, you guys have done an amazing job with sharing the wealth and being able to have these training programs, workshops, training sessions
Yeah.
you have put on that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of. And
Yeah, thank you.
really awesome to see, the agents come together and others in the real estate profession come together and learn what's going on and how to stay up to date on everything and who their resources are that they can tap into.
Yeah, no, I thank you for saying that. I agree. I mean, we learned a lot out of those. We have enough to share. I don't know everything that there is about video or marketing. I'm a realtor first, but the marketing is what fuels my real estate business forward. So, to any agent that's out there thinking about getting into social, getting into video, there's a lot of different capacities that you can do that. I mean, our CRM allows us to send one-to-one videos through a system called BombBomb, if anybody knows what that is. So I can say, hey, Joe Buyer, Morgan here with Sullivan Group Real Estate. I just wanted to check in with you, see how things are going. I know last summer you were thinking about buying, but we're waiting on that promotion. Hope you got that. Hope you're thinking it's time. Let's check in again soon. I used their name. They saw my face. We had a deeper connection than if I called, text, or emailed. So, I mean, that's a starting point with video. And then getting out there on social is it's awkward at first. And you just have to embrace, trust the process. It was awkward to show our first house. It was awkward to open the lockbox in front of clients the first time you have to open it. And you're like, oh my God, please open, please Bluetooth to the whatever thing and make it work. It's awkward to make your first cold call. It's awkward for your first buyer or seller presentation. It's awkward for all of that. And video's no different. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but it's something that's going to work for you for a long time. And it's a skill that actually helps. As you can tell, I'm very, very talkative. But I feel like using video made me more direct in my communication because I had to, organize my thoughts for a clear message in video. And I felt that translate to other capacities of my life, which is kind of a cool takeaway.
Oh, 100%. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, when I first started, it was live streaming video right out the gate because I thought pre-recorded was just so challenging for me. It felt so uncomfortable and it wasn't me. So I had started with live, which most people run away from live. But it helps you. It is always awkward, and then you get better at it, and then it just helps you gather your thoughts and really just hit the camera. Let's go. Whatever happens. We're just going to make it.
Just roll with it.
Yes.
Do the best you can with what you got.
Anybody tuning in, feel free to reach out to Morgan anytime. She and her team are awesome. And as you can see, super approachable and helpful. Even if you're not in the local area, still reach out, connect on social. Of course, if you need help with video marketing, feel free to reach out to me. Let's have a free discovery call so we can just chat and get you the right resources. I appreciate you tuning in to us, and we're going to carry on the conversation. We hope that you enjoyed your time with us and learned something new. And don't forget to implement at least one thing that you've learned so that you can show up, deliver, and engage on a consistent basis.